grammar notebook, vocabulary notebook, reflection journal, writing journal. Keeping track of all of these journals can feel like a full-time job, right? But what if I told you we're putting all of that away? All you really need is just one journal. Just one. Simple, effective, but trust me, it works. Here is the thing. Journaling for language learning doesn't have to be complicated, and it definitely doesn't have to take hours of your time. In fact, it's most effective when it's simple and fits easily into your daily routine. At this point of my life, I came to a conclusion that simple systems work best. I'm currently learning 3 languages: Polish, German, and Croatian, and today I'm going to show you my personal journaling system that keeps everything: grammar, vocabulary, reflection notes, cultural notes, all in one place. But first, it's important to say that there are 2 main ways to journal. The first one is old school pen and paper. It's especially good if you like that tactile feel of writing things down. And the second way is using digital tools like Notion or Evernote, which let you organize, tag, and search your notes easily. For me, I definitely prefer the paper. I already use laptop or phone for language learning a lot, and to balance that a little bit, I really like to sit down with a paper and write something down with my pen. For you, choose what works best or try both. It doesn't really matter how you do it. What really matters is the way you do it and that you actually do it. So here is how I set it up. Each day gets its own entry. I write down the date, sometimes the day of the week and the month if I want to practice it, and then I just write down anything I want to write from my lesson today, which is usually new vocabulary. As for the grammar, I do not write down the grammar rules because I practice it right on my laptop. It looks like this. And after I've written down some vocabulary from the lesson, I usually try to create some sentences with this vocabulary to learn how to use it. Again, I'll write down anything I want. I don't have to think about whether it's a grammar point, a new vocabulary, a cultural insight, or a new idiom. Then, after I've finished my lesson, I'll do actual journaling where I'll kind of reflect on what I've learned today, what was new for me, and this way I practice the vocabulary again, something I've learned today, and reflect on my lesson, which is a quite useful exercise. In case I don't know what to write about, I'll ask GPT to ask me a couple of questions so that I can reflect on my lesson and still be productive. So this is basically how I journal. It's very simple, as I said before, but let me give you a couple more tips to enhance your journaling. And the first tip is to highlight what's important. If there is something you want to be able to find really quickly, just highlight it so it's easier in the future. And you can do the same with a digital journal. Just use the highlighter tool or some symbols like exclamation mark, or the star, whatever you like. The second tip is don't use complicated grammar or a lot of vocabulary that you don't know yet. I only try to use the grammar that I have already learned. For example, if I don't know how to form the future tense yet, I don't stress out about it. I'll just use present tense to express future ideas, and if it happens often, I just treat it as a sign that it's probably time to get to learning this grammar point. But if you don't know how to say something, just say it in a simpler way. Simplify again. The third tip is don't shy away from using dictionaries or translators. If you're stuck on a word, just look it up. This is where I prefer using digital journals because it's much quicker to look something up when you're using your laptop or iPhone or whatever. But still, even when I'm journaling with my notebook and I really need some words, I just look it up in the dictionary or a translator and keep writing. It can be a little bit frustrating to use something else apart from these 2 bodies, but still, when you look up new words, you actually learn new vocabulary, so this is good for you as well. Just don't do it too often. As I said, don't use a lot of vocabulary you don't know yet. And the fourth tip is to review it on a weekly basis or once in a while. For example, I try to review my notes on a weekly basis so that I remember the vocabulary I've learned or whatever it is I've learned, see some important notes, and just kind of fixate it in my head a little bit better. So again, this is very simple, but then why do I think it works? Well, first of all, I just feel it works, for me at least, but really I think it works because it's simple, flexible, and personal. You're not following someone else's rigid structure. You don't stress about where to write something down, the way to do it. You just create a learning routine that feels natural and works for your goals, because you only write what you think is important, what you want to write down, and it works perfectly. And the best part, when you look back weeks or months after that, you will see how much you've learned and grown. So what about you? Do you use journals for language learning, and do you prefer physical notebooks or digital tools? Or maybe you have a totally unique system. Share in the comments below, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like it, subscribe to my channel for more language learning tips, and maybe share it with someone who is just starting their language learning journey. Thank you so much for watching. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a journal entry to write. See you in the next video. Bye bye!